Okay, so what we have with the contact tracker right now is we can add a contact, we can save them. I already opened, so that's why that's grayed out, because I have these Bugs Bunny and Mr. T on here. Yesterday we talked about adding the phone number on there, so when I mouse over I see the phone number for whatever contact that is. You guys are supposed to try to add the email on there, but don't worry too much about that. Alright, so then the last thing that it would be nice to do is to be able to edit a contact. Right? So if I screwed up the phone number, email, or I mistyped the name or whatever, I can edit that. The way that that should work is I select one of these contacts, right? Then I have an edit button, and when I click the edit button, it shows up like this with Mr. T and that phone number and email in there, so I can change it and resubmit it. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to make some changes to this, which is the contact dialog, and we're also going to make some changes to this, which is the contact tracker, so that it has an edit button that works. Okay, so let's go do it. So let's look at contact dialog first. All right. What we need is really another way of constructing the contact dialog so that it has the information from a contact already in it, right? So we want to see like Mr. T's phone number and email and all that stuff already in the form. Does that make sense? So here's what we're going to do. We're in contact dialog right now. This first step is really just to kind of make things easier for the next step. So what we're going to do is I'm at the constructor for contact dialog where it has super and all that stuff. I'm going to select everything from this .set layout all the way to the bottom of the constructor. Okay, so I'm going to select all of that stuff. You guys with me? And I'm going to go edit, cut. So now your constructor should look like this. Okay? And the reason that we're going to cut that out is because we want to basically simplify the constructor and have it call on a different method that we're going to write right now. So we're going to go public void construct. All right. And then inside of the construct method, I'm just going to paste in the stuff that I just cut out. Okay. So edit, paste, and now inside of this construct method is all the stuff, this set layout, making the panels, adding action listener, packing the dialog, all that stuff is inside the construct method. Okay? And then back in the constructor, I'm going to call on construct. Okay? So that's kind of like what we did with like when I click the add button, go to add contact. When I click the save button, go to save contact. Okay? So now we're doing this construct method, and it's really just to simplify what's in here. Okay? So we want to do super and then construct. All right? The next thing that you're going to do is we're going to create another constructor, a constructor that allows us to have a contact in there. Okay? So we're going to copy all of the constructor, okay? And then underneath there, we're going to paste that whole thing in there, and then we're going to change it. So I can't have two constructors with the same parameter list. I want another constructor that also gets a contact that we're going to edit, okay? So I don't know what to call this thing. We're going to call it edit me. Okay? And then I'll stop in a second here to let you guys catch up, but we're going to go super owner. Instead of create a contact, this is the constructor that we're going to use when we edit a contact. So I'm going to just put edit contact. Okay? And then after we construct, we want to add the first name to the text field, add the last name to the text field, and all that stuff. So that's going to look like this. We're going to go first name tf dot set text edit me dot first name. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing for the last name, for the phone number, and the email. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. So this is going to be last name, phone, email, phone, email. Okay, so now when we're doing this, we're going to do, what we're doing right there is we're putting the edit me contact info in the text fields. All right, so I'm sorry if that was a little bit confusing, but basically what we were trying to do is make it so that we have all of the stuff where we're trying to like create the panels to put the buttons and the labels and text fields and all that stuff in one place. So that was the construct method that we built, okay, or that we just wrote. All right, so public void construct does all the stuff that the constructor used to do, or most of the stuff that the constructor used to do. All right, it's just that now we're calling to do that inside of two different constructors. So we're calling to do that when we want to create a contact, construct, and when we want to edit a contact, we're going to construct, and it's going to do that stuff. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much all we need to do inside of the Dialog class. So now we're going to switch over to the Contact Tracker class. So make sure you're in Contact Tracker. And now we're going to like add an edit button, make sure that it's on the frame, you know, do all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the add button here, and I'm just going to put in an edit button. So paste and edit, and then change this to edit. All right. And then we're going to go down here where we have the button panel. Now yours might be called South Panel. I don't really know. Okay. But that's where we're adding the buttons. Add B, save B, open B. So I'm going to copy, paste, put my edit button in there. All right. And then same thing for add action listener. Copy, paste. Change that to edit so that the edit button gets listened to when it gets clicked. What'd you do? I came over and I helped you and then you deleted stuff.
No.
Yes, you did.
Everything that you had put right
No.
there. I didn't delete anything.
Yes, you did.
I swear, I did not. I didn't delete anything.
You deleted this one. You're over here talking about all the huge girls you know.
I said tall. Tall and huge, two different.
All right, are you guys good? Okay, so then what we're going to do is go down to the action performed method. Okay, just going to copy and paste the save button and then change it to edit B. Change this to edit the, and then I'm going to get rid of the S at the end of contact here. So edit the contact, and then we're going to go and write that, write that method. You guys good? All right, so let's go ahead and write that edit the contact method. So in action performed, right, we're calling to the add contact, then the edit contact, then save, then open. So I'm going to put my edit contact right between add and save just to kind of keep it in order, I guess. So here's my add contact method. Okay, this is the end of my add contact method. So I'm going to go right there and type in public void edit contact. Okay. Apparently I have an error up here. Oh. Edit the contact. Sorry about that. So I'm just putting it, it doesn't really matter where you put it as long as it's not inside of another method, but I put mine after my add contact method. So I have an add contact method that ends right there. Seeing it? And then I have edit the contact right after that. So we have edit the contact here. So let's just see what we've done so far, okay? So let's run this. And there's nothing inside of edit the contact, so nothing's going to happen when we click this edit button. But so the idea here is that we're going to basically select one of these things and then click edit, and then whatever we tell it to do in here is what's going to happen, okay? So let's think about what we want to have happen, okay? If I click in here and I click edit, should it do something? No, right? If I click there and click edit, then I want to see Mr. T show up and I can edit it, right? Bugs Bunny. Okay, so the way that we have to think about this is which indexes are being edited. Okay, so what index is Bugs Bunny in? 0, good. What index is Mr. T in? 1, okay. How many contacts do we have? 2. Do we have a variable, okay, one of these variables that keeps track of how many contacts I have? Yes. Which one? Contact count. Okay, so what should contact count be right now? 2. All right, so I want if I'm going to edit a contact, I want the index that's selected to be at least what? At least 0, okay? And no bigger than what? No bigger than, in this case, 2, or in general, the contact count. Does that make sense? Okay. Which one of these things that I have highlighted in my code is this that I'm selecting inside of here? What is this thing called? The list, right? Contact list. Okay? So that's where I'm going to figure out which one is selected via the list. All right? So let's go back down to that method. So edit the contact. In here, what we want to do first is we're going to go int selected index, and then we're going to get the selected index from the contact list. So from contact list, we're going to go dot, and then we want to get something, okay? So maybe we don't know exactly what we want to get, but we know that we want to get something from it. So let's look and see if there's something in here that makes sense. So get anchor selection index. That might be right, okay, but maybe there's something a little bit better. So get baseline, get component count, get first visible index. No, I don't think so. Get fixed cell height. Okay, so I want you guys to kind of look through there and see if you can find something that looks like it might be what we want to use here. Okay, what'd you say? Get selected index. Very good, okay? So this one right here is get selected index, okay? Returns the smallest selected cell index, the selection when only a single item is selected in the list. Okay? Well, that's what I want. So I want to do contact list dot get selected index. And then I want to do that test that we just talked about. We want to say if selected index is greater than or equal to 0 and selected index is less than contact count. Okay, so this describes when I want to change, when I want to like have the dialog pop up. Okay. So inside of there, we're going to do some more steps here. We're going to do, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a reference to a contact. So we're going to say contact edit me equals contacts, which is my array, at selected index. All right, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to explain all this again. but I just kind of want you to follow along with me for now. Then I'm going to make a contact dialog. So I'm going to call this thing CD, make that a new contact dialog. I want this to be its owner, and I want edit me to show up in the dialog. So now I'm using that second constructor of contact dialog that we just made. Okay? And then I'm going to make edit me equal to cd.getContact. Okay? We're going to add on to this a little bit, but I'm going to let you guys catch up, and then I'm going to show you guys how far we are so far. We're almost done, to be honest with you. Anybody need more time? Okay. Anybody still need time? Okay, so let's go ahead and check out what we've done so far. So when I run this, I'm just going to open a file here, and then I want to be able to kind of look at this code and the interface itself. Okay, so right now we have contact list.getSelectedIndex. If I click edit right now, it doesn't do anything, and the reason it doesn't do anything is because getSelectedIndex right now returns -1. Okay, when I don't have anything selected in the list, it's going to return -1 for the selected index. If I select down here, okay, so all of these that I have that are kind of like little skinny lines, those are all like null contacts. We've talked about that before. When I click edit there, I don't know what this is. Maybe it's number 10. Okay, so let's say that that's selected index is 10. 10 greater than or equal to 0 is true. 10 less than contact count is false. Does that make sense? And so since this is false, we're not going to be able to edit the contact. When I select one of these down here, like Mr. T, and I click edit this time, now I'm getting a contact dialog, okay, with Mr. T on it already. Okay? Does that make sense so far? Mm-hmm. All right. So basically the idea here is that we're getting index 1 from the contact list. That's the one that's selected. We're going into our array of contacts at index 1 and setting edit me equal to basically Mr. T. Okay? Then we're creating a contact dialog and putting Mr. T on the contact dialog. So that's the stuff that we just did at the beginning of this. Okay? And we're adding the we're putting the first name and last name and phone number and email on the text fields. All right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to get the contact back from this contact dialog. So I have really two options to get back to here. Okay? My one option is to click cancel. My other option is to click submit. All right? When I click cancel, what is edit me going to be? What's the value of edit me if I click cancel? Okay, how do you say nothing in programming? Null. Okay? If I click submit, right, then edit me is going to be whatever new value this contact has. Okay? So, when do I want to change Mr. T? Do I want to change Mr. T when I click cancel? Okay. Do I want to change Mr. T when I click submit? Yes. Okay. When I click cancel, edit me is null. When I click submit, edit me is some contact that was changed. All right. So, so then we got to add on basically that idea to here. So we're going to say if edit me is not equal to null, that means they click submit. All right. And then where do I want the contact to go? Back to the contact list, right? Do I want to add an extra one on? No. I want to replace the one that I got, right? So what I want to do is I want to set this back to edit me. So I'm going to go contacts at selected index equal to edit me. All right, and then I want to show those changes back on the list. So we've done that a couple times. We did that with creating a new contact. We did that with opening the contacts from a file. So we're going to go contact list dot set list data contacts. Okay, so let's maybe run this one more time, see that it works. So let me open this, select Mr. T, edit, change Mr. T to Miss Z, change his phone number. It's a 414 area code number. Okay. If I submit that, we should see Mr. T change over here. So submit. I see Miss Z. I see 414 for the area code. Okay. So that stuff just worked. Let's go back and kind of explain each of these steps. Okay, so I'm just going to put some comments in here so that we can kind of run through this one more time. All right. So here what we're going to do is get the selected index from the list. Okay, and then we want to validate the index, the selected index. Right? It should be between 0 and less than contact count. Okay, so then what this is a reference. So we're going to create a reference to the selected contact, okay, from the array. I'm just going to say that. So selected index is the one that was selected. We want to say, take this one out of the array, or copy it out of the array, and put it in edit me so that we can just give it a name. Okay? Send the contact, edit me, to a contact dialog. Okay? Get the edited contact back from the dialog. Okay? Now remember that there's a chance that they click cancel in the dialog, which would mean that this edit me would be null. Okay? So get the edited contact back from the dialog might be null. Right? Then we're making sure it's not null. If it's not null, then we're going to put the edited contact back in the selected index of the array. And then we're going to show the changes on the list.